Serving time is a familiar experience for Joe Giudice. Conversely, Todd Chrisley and his wife, Julie Chrisley, are accustomed to the sensation of receiving a pardon, unlike him. When this former member of the Real Housewives of New Jersey departed, Joe completed his sentence. Joe was subsequently deported and was subsequently residing outside of the United States. Joe is currently residing in the Bahamas, where he recently expressed his sentiments regarding the pardons of the former Chrisley Knows Best members. After his conviction for bankruptcy fraud and tax evasion, Joe was sentenced to prison. Before being released, he completed his entire sentence. To the contrary, Todd was sentenced to 12 years in prison for bank and tax fraud. Concurrently, Julie was sentenced to 7 years in prison. Todd and Julie, however, were granted a pardon only 2 years into their initial sentences. Joe has nothing but positive things to say about this family, despite the fact that many may feel irritated that they did not receive the same tangible get-out-of-jail-free card. Joe revealed in an interview with Fox News that he is extremely grateful to Savannah Chrisley, who tirelessly advocated for their release. I mean, she worked diligently and completed all of her responsibilities, he emphasized, observing that it seemed to be effective. Indeed, she granted her parents forgiveness, and it is imperative that we commend her for that. Additionally, consider the severity of the sentence they received. They were sentenced to a severe penalty for exercising their rights, Joe continued. Joe maintained Savannah's actions were morally correct. She continued to insist on receiving the pardon, and she ultimately succeeded. And that was the sole method. Joe is exceedingly pleased for the Chrisleys for the most part. In addition to verifying the casting of Real Housewives of New Jersey, he disclosed that the network is currently conducting a search for a new cast member for Real Housewives of New York. He stated that we are currently in the process of conducting a small amount of casting, which is customary during the interval between seasons. He also mentioned that there will undoubtedly be new faces on Real Housewives of New York Season 16. Sai De Silva, Uba Hassan, Erin Litchie, Jenna Lyons, Jessel Tank, Brynn Whitfield, Raquel Chevremont, and Rebecca Minkoff, a friend of mine, comprise Season 15. Bravo recently announced an entirely new installment to the long-running franchise, Real Housewives of Rhode Island, even though fans can anticipate a few new faces on both Real Housewives of New York and Real Housewives of New Jersey. Cohen disclosed, during his appearance on The View, that the forthcoming installment will be comparable to Real Housewives of New Jersey. Sunny Hostin inquired as to whether Cohen's previous claims in May that the Rory would remind audiences of early Jersey in a weird way were still accurate. He informed Hostin that Jersey Housewives itself is not an independent entity, simply stated, that is. He stated, "I fear that many individuals are unaware of the fact that Rhode Island is home to a predominantly Italian population.